Karen's deep run-ins in 24th place.
After going all in with it. Call.
Was on to something, I felt.
That's your Dolly Brunson, who wrote the book.
And there it is. Helmuth wins the championship.
Ryan Reese is the world champion.
Biggest day of my life.
The final table just one day away. The $10 million payday so close to reality. Welcome back to the 2014 World Series of Poker main event telecast presented by Gentleman Jack. The biggest event on the poker calendar moving closer to its conclusion. I'm Lon McCarran with Norman Chad and Kara Scott. We go right to the action. First-timer Tom Serra Jr., the wildest of wild cards left, squaring off against Vegas pro Dan Sindelar. Tom checked his open-ended straight draw. Sindelar bet, and now Serra calls. Turn card, 6 of diamonds. Sindelar still ahead. Serra checks again.
This is Sindelar's 7th straight year playing in the main event and his first cash.
They both check. Queen of spades. Sindelar pairs up. Serra first act. And he's the one reaching for chips.
Well, he knows he can't win at showdown, so he'll take a shot here.
560,000.
And Serra's a bit unlucky. If the river weren't a king or a queen, Sindelar probably goes away. Sindelar wondering what can Serra possibly have, and I think the answer is nothing.
And there is a raise from Sindelar to almost $1.5 million.
To 1 million.
It's a little rich for 8 high blood.
Raise.
And Serra announces a re-raise.
I think he meant to say fold, and it just came out wrong.
So now how much will this re-raise be?
Every time I think this guy's a fish, he shows us shark's teeth.
Wow. Serra puts in almost half of his remaining stack.
And if Sindelar had just called the original bet, the pot would be his. Now he's got a big decision.
You had 560. You probably had 560.
5 million.
Is he on to a tell? And there you go. Sindelar gives it up. What a play by Serra.
Well played, Tom Serra Jr.
Despite that hit, though, Dan Sindelar remains the chip leader of the main event.
But if he keeps getting outplayed by first-timers, he won't be chip leader for long.
Tom Serra Jr. from a small town in Ohio, but capable of big bluffs.
I think everyone in Girard, Ohio just walks around bluffing everyone else.
Like Serra, Scott Mahan playing in his first main event.
Now, he's from Elk Point, South Dakota. Nobody there bluffs. Those are hard-working, honest people.
And like Serra and Mahan, Billy Pappas playing in his first main event.
Foosball professional, part-time poker dealer, and maybe first-time November Niner.
19 players remaining, some of them competing in their first ever main event. Among them, Serra and Pappas are in the top 10. And 10th place, still major news, Mark Newhouse.
Steve G remarkably finished 24th last year in his bid for back-to-back November 9s. Mark Newhouse now has gone further.
Bottom half of the field, Mann and Palmer are short-stacked.
For Scott and Scott, it's double up or go home.
Kara Scott spoke with Mark Newhouse earlier.
So, Mark, how surreal is it starting to get for you being here again? This is the last day before the final table.
I mean, I don't know if it's hit me yet. I'm honestly feeling very relaxed. Just I'm in a good position, and feel like I'm gonna get there.
Do you think the other players look at you any differently because you did make it last year?
I'm sure some of them have respect for me. Some of them think I'm lucky. You know, it's but they know at least I have this experience, so they know all this isn't going to faze me.
Thanks so much, Mark.
Yep.
3 tables in action now. When we get to 18 players, we'll combine to 2 tables. Newhouse with 2 big stacks on his left.
Does that look like a guy who cares about big stacks? I don't think so.
Andrei Zychenko is on the opposite end of the big stacks.
Does that look like a guy who cares about big stacks? Actually, you know, he might.
The blinds at 100,000, 200,000 with a 30K ante. Zychenko, the Moscow poker pro, has over 650,000 in World Series earnings alone. He raises to 450 with ace-5 of clubs.
Weak suited aces are all the rage in Russia.
Eddie Sabat, 10-jack suited, folds to Craig McCorkle, 28-year-old British pro.
He was 172nd in the 2012 main event.
9-5 off. Little camera time before the fold. Mark Newhouse on the button. King, queen.
Newhouse puts the Cas in casual.
Yeah. And he calls for 450,000. Bruno Politano, trade deuce, the amateur from Brazil.
Politano had a job interview this morning at a local Franciscan monastery.
He's the big stack at this table with almost 19 million chips.
It's trade deuce, right?
Yeah.
Gone.
Yep. In the big blind, Martin Jacobson, a talented Swedish pro living in London with 8-7 off.
Jacobson is a bargain hunter. He spends most Tuesday mornings at Tuesday mornings.
Very nice. He makes the call. 3 players will see a flop. Anybody's pot right now. Ace high best at the moment. Here's the flop. King, queen, 8. Top 2 for Mark Newhouse. Bottom pair for Jacobson. He checks. Zaichenko misses.
Newhouse actually disappointed he didn't pick up a heart or spade draw on the flop.
That's the way he's been running in this main event. Zaichenko, as I said, missed, but he's the one with chips in hand. He bet 650,000.
There is a grassroots movement to rename the main event the Mark Newhouse Invitational.
Yeah, it just might be if he can pull this one off. He just calls with top 2. Jacobson folds, so now we're heads up. And Zaichenko in big trouble. Turn card, 7 of diamonds. Zaichenko drawing dead now.
Good fold from Jacobson. He would have made 2 pair and been drawing thin. Zaichenko, a poker pro, used to work in sales. Finished 232nd in the 2012 main event.
Boy, I said he's drawing dead, but some dead men do have heart. 1,150,000.
Well, Zaichenko graduated from Moscow State University, majoring in squadouche.
And now Mark Newhouse with king, queen. The unbeatable hand just calls.
Well, Newhouse says, fine, I'll let you lead me to the pot of gold.
River card now. 9 of clubs. Can Zaichenko continue with his charade?
I have a feeling that after this main event, the weak-suited ace rage will slowly grind to a halt in Russia.
He does wave the white flag.
Top 2 feels like it's the stone-cold nuts in this spot.
1,000,008 from Newhouse. Zaichenko wants to give this some thought.
Well, Zaichenko with some Hollywood here, though Newhouse is the one who looks like he lives near Hollywood.
Zaichenko knows Mark can get creative in hand selection, but Zaichenko with a below-average chip stack cannot continue. He does fold. Mark Newhouse getting stronger. Main event history beckons.
Lon, Newhouse is 29, nothing against him, but if he lives to be 2,900, I'd have to figure he doesn't make another November 9.
What Mark Newhouse is doing at this main event is shocking. And here's what you said you'd do if Newhouse made back-to-back final tables. Zip line across the Grand Canyon with Mike Matusow on your back and walk the entire Las Vegas Strip barefoot singing Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star. Crazy, right?
Yeah, so what? He hasn't made back-to-back main event final tables yet, has he? And if he does, you can add this to your list. I'll climb the Eiffel Tower in a plaid toga while eating a bag of pommes frites. You cannot make 2 final tables in a row against fields of 6,000 plus. It is a statistical improbability. It is a metaphysical improbability. And it is a sociobiological improbability. It cannot be done, and it will not be done.
So you're saying there's a chance. There's a look at the payouts. 19 left, 10 million to our champ this year. To an outer table, Scott Palmer, 24-year-old poker pro from Maryland, shoved with deuces, only to run into the aces of Chris Graves, an amateur from the Indianapolis area.
Palmer shoved with 22 big blinds left.
The 2 short stacks at this table. 9 tray 4. Not much going on there for Palmer.
Palmer doubled up earlier on day 7 with ace tray versus pocket queens. This is even a tougher task.
The turn card is another tray, so Palmer is going to have to hit on the river or say goodbye.
Lon, if we have an emotional outburst at the end of this hand, I would be shocked. Palmer needs a deuce to stick around.
It's another tray, boat over boat. My card room calls that a shipwreck, but Scott Palmer is gone from the main event in 19th place.
Boy, that felt like a couple of research librarians exchanging lab notes. There's a big difference you just mentioned between 19th place and, say, first place money, right?
Huge indeed. Palmer wins almost 287,000, and the redraw will begin soon. Graves almost doubles up.
He sits now with almost 10 million. So while they get ready to move and get the redraw going, we do have another hand in progress. Foosballer Billy Pappas leads after the flop at 2 pair. Luis Velador with ace-king suited and the 5s on board looking to pair up.
Velador, a double bracelet winner, the oldest player left in the field at age 51.
Pappas checked. Velador bets 400,000.
The foosball pro against the poker pro.
Pappas will come along with the best hand. Turn card now. Tray of diamonds now gets a little interesting. Pappas still ahead. Velador with a flush draw.
Pappas was hyper-aggressive on day 6, but today he says he's playing like a pansy.
They both check. Free river card, tray of spades, and Velador does come up short. Pappas's rail has been very active, very supportive of their man. Billy with the best hand. Does he know it? Looks like he wants to explore the possibilities. 700,000.
I'm a little surprised with that bet line. It just opens the door to a raise that I don't think he wants to face.
Velador does make the call.
Luis thought ace high was good there.
But Pappas will take it with a better 2 pair. And the main event rookie showing the wily veteran how it's done. Pappas crests the 12 million chip mark here on day 7.
All right, case in point, he bet we won.
He stacked chips.
The first timers are outmaneuvering the many timers.
Billy Pappas with a nice pop to his stack just before the redraw into 7th place. We've got a change of scenery coming for our remaining 18 players. We're going back to 9-handed play. A new dynamic for everyone as the chase for 10 million bucks and the bracelet continues. The 2014 World Series of Poker is presented by Gentleman Jack, the Order of Gentlemen. And in part by the WSOP social game on Facebook and mobile. Sit and go tournaments are starting right now. Download for free. 18 players left at the main event. Half of them will make the November 9, and there's a look at the remaining players.
I hope we get a better camera angle than that, Lon. That's pretty distant.
Politano and Sindelar, the biggest stacks at their respective table. Average stack on the room, about 11 million.
Each table has a chip leader, and each table has a short stack. Back to you, Lon.
More world-class analysis from Norman Chad, ladies and gentlemen.
This isn't a contract year. I can coast from time to time.
And there is the beautiful main event championship bracelet, worthy of any red carpet anywhere. To the featured table, 9-handed play again. Luis Velador, king, queen, and a raise to 400,000.
Half of the remaining 18 players will go home with at least $347,000 and be incredibly disheartened.
Craig McCorkle on the button.
McCorkle's got a Carlos Mortensen, Ram Vaswani look.
Wow, good call. You're right. He folds to the small blind. Mark Newhouse, 8-6 suited. So we'll just call this a river flush and move on. He makes the call in the big blind. Tom Serra Jr. He will not play.
No, old friends, new table mates.
First hand we've ever played together?
Far from it. 8-4 Jack, no diamonds, but middle pair for Mark. Velador misses. Mark checks.
These two longtime LA cash game grinders at Commerce Casino.
Velador continues with a bet of 425.
And Mark thinking, I got a piece of that flop. Why don't I call?
Over 2 million in the middle now. Turn card. 10 of hearts. Velador open-ended, plus those 3 hearts are not a happy sight for either one of these guys.
Yeah, board's getting a little scarier, like Russell Brand confronting some paparazzi.
Newhouse checks, Velador checks. River card, tray of clubs doesn't help matters any. Newhouse checks again. Luis. Oh. He checks back. And the pair of 8s will bring him the pot.
Velador tried to bluff once, got called, and gave up. That's the story of my no-limit hold'em life.
Mark Newhouse now with over 13.5 million chips. Another hand, another pot for this LA pro. If he gets to the final table again, he's planning on a different result.
Last year was very exciting. First time I've been that deep. I feel like I played pretty well leading up to the final table and wasn't really prepared to finish ninth.
The river card, the 6 of diamonds, and Mark Newhouse is out in ninth.
You know, I told myself whatever happens, happens, and I wouldn't be disappointed, but finishing ninth was very disappointing. I would almost say finishing ninth might be worse emotionally than finishing 10th. I don't want to finish ninth again. After last year, I think everyone knows who I am. I don't know if they watched the coverage last year. Maybe I looked like, you know, I squeezed my way in and I was playing tighter, but I think they all know what the deal is this year. I'm feeling great. This whole tournament, I've been feeling very relaxed. You know, there's a lot on the line, but I'm out there having fun playing poker.
He felt pressure last year. He feels relaxed this year. Life is good for Mark Newhouse.
Felix Stevenson opened under the gun with King Queen. Newhouse in the cutoff with Ace Queen makes the call. Tom Serra on the button with Ace 7. He folds to Bruno Politano. 5 tray off.
Politano's hobbies include playing soccer and taking a long time before folding 5 tray off.
Boy, if he's looking for TV time, he should remove the hoodie. He does fold to Semth, who quickly folds a better hand than Bruno had. So heads up, Stevenson and Newhouse.
Oh, Felix puts his hoodie on to protect himself from Mark Newhouse.
Here is the flop. 5, queen, deuce, a queen for both, but it's Newhouse with top kicker.
Imagine waking up every morning and having your favorite breakfast waiting for you. That's what Mark has when he enters a pot lot. The flop is right there waiting for him.
And look at this, Stevenson putting chips into the middle. 425.
Can't blame Stevenson for that bet.
Newhouse just calls.
Mark always tosses his chips in as if to say, if I get them back, I get them back.
Turn card now. Jack of spades. Newhouse is still best. Stevenson now checks.
Well, Felix either knew to slow down or he wants Mark to fire out.
It is hard to slow this guy down. A bet of 800,000.
Actually, why am I trying to read Felix's mind? I can't even read my own mind.
To Stevenson now, 23-year-old poker pro from Oslo, Norway, who lives in London now.
I think he's going to check here.
Too late for that. He's got top pair, nearly great kicker, and he makes the call.
Oh, he couldn't check there, right? It was either a fold or a bet or a call or a raise.
Yeah, you'll figure it out. Go to the Norman Chad School of Poker. River is a 6 of diamonds, so Newhouse officially best. Stevenson checks again.
Newhouse is going to bet 1.5 million here.
Wow, that's pretty close. $1,250,000.
I'm within a $250,000. That's right for me.
I like your bet better. Stevenson with top pair and the king kicker.
I believe he's going to put 1.25 million out into that pot. I would stake your reputation on it, Lon.
That's not very much. There it is. And he can say goodbye to that 1.25 million and more. Mark Newhouse takes another pot.
Newhouse played that one to perfection. He got chips out of his opponent on every street.
Well, that's Mark's main event in a nutshell. Over 17 million into 4th place, solidifying his spot in poker history with every pot he drags. So as Mark Newhouse makes his way towards this year's November 9, we wondered where it would rank among previous back-to-back final tables. 8 players have done it since 1980. Just 2 did it back-to-back-to-back, Johnny Chan and Jesse Alto.
Here's the thing. The main event these days gets really serious when you get down to about 200 players. In Johnny Chan's day, the main event started with less than 200 players.
The bracelet and Mark Newhouse together. It could happen. Folded to Newhouse. Queen tray of clubs.
Garbage.
He loves to have chips. He loves to push them around. He raises to 425 with his garbage.
The last time I played Queen tray, the parking valet pulled up my car for me to go home by the time we got to the flop.
Had nothing to do with your previous results. Stevenson again now. 8-7. He folds. Big blind Velador will make the call with king queen off.
So it's another traveling Commerce Casino showdown.
All right, these two heads up again. The flop, Jack 9 queen, top pair again for both, but this time Newhouse has the short end of the stick. Velador checks it to Mark.
Yeah, what do you do with Queen tray here, huh? Huh?
Check.
That was a good check.
King's up now for Velador, but he can't get too happy with all those straight cards out there.
I'm surprised he didn't bet that flop, and I'm not surprised he's checking here.
Mark checks back. River card. Another 9. Velador's 2 pair stronger than Newhouse's 2 pair. 350 from Luis.
Just 350?
How'd he resist?
Yeah, I might make a curiosity killed the cat call right here.
Okay.
Okay. And Mark's loss is Luis's game.
Velador bled 350,000 out of his LA pal there on the river.
Not calling much more.
I knew that. That's why I bet that.
Luis Velador gets the best of his buddy Mark Newhouse, but he doesn't get much this time around. Time now for Event 7 of the Side Action Championship.
In tonight's event, players will attempt to throw cards into a hat. Each player gets 15 seconds to toss as many cards as he can into the hat from 8 feet away. The player who throws the most cards in the hat wins.
This hat is the exact hat worn by Wild Bill Hickok the night he had aces and eights in Deadwood. JRB will be first. 3, 2, 1, go.
Where's Chris Ferguson when you need him?
That's what I said. Oh, he hit the lip. He lipped it.
5, 4,
So far, that's
3,
none.
2, 1, done.
Perfect.
Let me go check.
Ah.
0.
I hit the hat once.
3, 2, 1, go.
None. Oh!
Told you you'd get one.
Nice. Gotta go in. It's gotta go in.
5,
got one in
4,
there.
3, 2, 1, done.
You got one.
You got one early, and that could be a winner.
I didn't get the bagel.
3, 2, 1, go.
He's won
Yeah,
3
you're
hits
laughing at
already.
me, Mike.
Almost.
You got it, Mike. You got it. You can do it. Stay in the
laughing
zone.
at me.
Can you see the hat?
Mike, you're
Stay
laughing pretty hard at me, buddy. You're over here dying.
4, 3, 2,
Miracles
1,
do happen.
done. And you got one.
Do
To
you
tie.
believe in
Cherry
miracles?
bomb.
Good technique, kid.
3, 2, 1, go.
Oh, look at this, a new style. What?
Yes.
One is in. He needs one to win.
You're revolutionizing the sport.
Oh my God, he's choking. He's choking. He's choking, ladies and
4,
gentlemen.
3, 2, 1. You won.
He got the bounce.
I gotta see a replay of that.
No way.
Wow.
No way. Bounced in. I mean, really? It's like a basketball player shooting his free throws on their hand.
Wow. He skipped in the winner.
A buzzer beater for the poker brat. Dom Perignon for everyone. Still anyone's game there except JRB. All right, secondary table. Andrei Zychenko, ace-jack. Dan Sindelar opened under the gun for 450 with pocket eights. And Zychenko says all in for over 2.6 million.
13 big blinds left for Zychenko. I think he would have preferred to push with a weak ace.
Well, no takers for his shove so far to the big blind Martin Jacobson. He gives it up back to Sindelar now. And he will call to put Zaya at risk.
Eights versus ace-jack.
Another Soviet-American clash, reminiscent in my mind of the Cuban Missile Crisis of '62 line.
Zychenko, the one at risk. He needs to improve his ace-jack. Here's the flop, deuce, straight, queen, all spades. Zaya with a flush draw now.
Zychenko actually now favored to survive 2 overs and the spade draw.
Turn card. King of hearts, Zaya adds a straight draw to his menu of outs.
Red Mallard.
Chris Johnson, Sindelar's buddy, recently knocked out of the main event.
Dealer.
Zychenko picks up 3 more outs. The Cold War edging towards nuclear.
The river card.
Yeah!
9 of spades. He hits his flush.
Someone call the State Department.
Zychenko will stick around. Dan Sindelar takes the flesh wound in stride. Zaichenko doubles to almost $6 million. He's got 29 big blinds, though. For Andrei Zaichenko, the decision to move all in is the gentleman jack right move. Sindelar makes the easy call, but when the board ran out, Zaichenko was back in business. Andrei still with a seat, still with a chance at $10 million U.S. Welcome back to the World Series of Poker main event telecast presented by Gentleman Jack. While Mark Newhouse's historic run is the biggest story, the impressive performances of our remaining first-timers also big news. Scott Mann is a construction supervisor from Elk Point, South Dakota, who had exactly 0 posted tournament results before the main event.
Here's a news flash. Scott Mann is not on Twitter. Come on, they got to have Twitter in Elk Point by now. Next thing you're going to tell me is that he's not even on Instagram.
Mann was dealt Queen-8 suited, and Doni Larabe from Spain mid-raised under the gun with pocket nines. Mann in the big blind. And it calls for 200 grand more.
How much are you playing? Like 3 million behind?
Yeah, close to it.
Flop 7, Jack 6. Flush draw for Mann. Pocket nines are still best for Larabe. Mann checks.
Larabe, youngest player left in the field at 22. Mann, second oldest at 47.
Larabe, 22 years old, already his second main event. He bets 450,000.
All in.
And Scott is all in for almost 2.8 million, and Larabe folds immediately.
They keep picking on the donkeys, and the donkeys keep kicking back. Mann showing no fear, willing to get it all in with a big draw, and he gets Larabe to lay down the best hand.
I have a lot of people behind you. Where are you from?
South Dakota, Elk Point, South Dakota. They, couple guys, them guys over there flew in.
Mann making a name for himself here at the main event and also for the place he calls home.
Elk Point's about 1,500 people. It's a very, very hometown. Everybody knows everybody. It's a very nice little small, quaint community. There is no poker community down there. It's just local guys play once in a while. But I've watched the World Series of Poker for as long as it's been on and always thought about playing in it, but I could never afford it. And a friend of mine came in my bar one day and he says, we got to do this. We'll find some investors. And I asked some other friends and they said, yeah, let's do it.
All in?
It did not hit me until I saw the painting on the stairs in the front of the Rio. And I looked at my girl and says, we're here. There's the World Series of Poker. This is the Rio. When I walked through the doors and saw all the people, it was crazy. That was just mind-blowing. To have all in people in one area, one building, it was just astounding how big it was. But then when you get to a room, it's a poker tournament. It's still just poker players playing against each other, and I'm one of them. When I sat down at the table, I got calm. Before and after was when it was nerve-wracking for me. But as soon as I hit the table, then I was fine, because then I could relax and play cards. I don't know how deep I'll go, but if I get any farther, it's just gravy.
What I love about Elk Point, 1 elementary school, 1 middle school, 1 high school, 1 zip code, no traffic.
And Scooby-Doo's in the house.
My Scooby-Doo's coming.
I didn't know Scooby-Doo was big in Brazil.
Yeah, Bruno. How much money are you spending on them every day? Nah, just kidding.
Going to spend a little more money. Scott Mann already has made fairy tale money. Doesn't seem to fear being knocked out. Ace-King here.
Elk Point's motto is where South Dakota begins. The Lewis and Clark expedition made camp in Elk Point in 1804. Lewis and Clark, that had to be a good heads up.
So with Ace-King, still the short stack at this table, a raise to 450,000 from Mann. Folded around to Mark Newhouse. Jack and King.
Newhouse born in Chapel Hill, North Carolina. Chapel Hill's motto, the southern part of heaven. That would make Silver Spring, Maryland, I believe, the northern part of heaven.
Well played, sir. And a re-raise from Newhouse to 1 million. Another first-timer, Tom Serra, kicks it in. Politano now, Scooby-Doo's trainer.
Newhouse tries to push everyone around, so Mahan shouldn't take it personally here.
Folded to the big blind, Max Semph.
This guy's trying to fold his way to the final table. Isn't going to happen on my watch.
Back to Mahan.
He plays poker at Grand Falls Casino in Larchwood, Iowa. Their motto, we're not the commerce.
I'm all in.
And he says all in. Back at you, Mark.
Mayen all in for his last 20 big blinds.
Newhouse with a much, much bigger stack. But how much does he feel like risking in this situation?
Well, this would be for more than 1/4 on Mark's stack, and Mark knows he's behind.
And Mark does fold and donates $1 million to the Scott Mayen Poker Fund.
More chips for zip code 57025.
A nice bump to his stack without a flop. Vicky Morgan, Scott's fiance, loves it. Up to 16th place.
Hey, Brian Davis, I want you to wear one of them. Yeah, that one won't fit.
Scott Mayen soaking this experience in. Scooby-Doo isn't on his rail, but everyone in Elk Point, South Dakota is. Back at the Rio, 18 players remain. The current payout about $350,000. First place worth $10 million. Get back to the featured table now. Scott Mayen still a short stack. Must tread wisely.
5 amateurs remain. Mayen, Tom Serra Jr., Billy Pappas, Chris Graves, and Bruno Politano.
That's eating a lot, eating big on the dinner break is a big rookie mistake. You'll come back and be tired.
Just a lazy bum.
Yeah.
Ace-9 suited for Mark.
God, that's the only time I eat. It's the only time I don't eat in the mornings. I'm so nervous, and I don't eat at night after I get home. That's the only thing I do is run to that thing up there and get a sandwich.
Newhouse may be right, but Lon, I see you eating before, during, and after every break.
I love my food. Politano, kind of a half pro, half amateur. He does have a full-time job down in Brazil.
Max Sant has pulled off the remarkable feat of making the final 2 tables and never playing a hand.
He does fold to big blind Felix Stevenson. Stevenson looks down at ace-king offsuit.
He once worked as a telemarketer for 3 days, and Felix says that was 4 days over his limit.
Mostly plays online. A raise from Newhouse in front of him. And with the ace-king, there's a re-raise to $1.1 million.
The Mark Newhouse Invitational has hit a speed bump here. He's again run into a bigger hand. And advanced sabermetrics indicate that Newhouse is behind pre-flop heads up 77.3% of the time, except at his home game, where home felt advantage gives him a WAR and OPS comparable to Mike Trout.
Now, who didn't know that? Oh, a stack of beige worth $5 million more.
Oh, that is likely an ill-timed 4-bet from Mark Newhouse, and a big one.
5.4
Stevenson all in. Mark getting priced in. Not brimming with confidence. Stevenson favored to jump way up the leaderboard.
Yeah, that feels like oops for Mark Newhouse. His November 9 seat just got pushed further away. Stevenson began this hand with 35 big blinds. He's in great position to double up to a nice stack.
Let's go. And a huge portion of Mark's stack in the middle as well. Here is the flop. King, Queen, Jack, top pair for Stevenson, both with the same Broadway draw.
Stevenson will take that flop every time. Newhouse would need running 9s to knock him out.
The turn card now is an 8, no help to Mark. He can only chop this pot now at best.
Yeah, Felix has survived his all-in. They'd chop the pot if a river 10 came to give them both an ace-high straight.
The river card is a deuce, changes nothing. Stevenson with a big double up, and he and Newhouse will pretty much swap spots on the leaderboard.
Well, we know that Mark Newhouse can be spewy. That was spewy.
Yeah, he takes a nearly 50% battering to his stack. On our player tracker, you see that Stevenson vaults all the way up from 13th place to 4th as a result of that win. A major hit to Newhouse's stack there, and maybe his final table chances. Here are Phil Locke and Antonio Esfandiari with what went wrong.
Mark Newhouse, a.k.a. New Hizzle Shizzle, dizzily played the ace-9 of hearts in a funky-dunky way.
Okay, Phil. Whatever he said. Anyway, I think the point that we should all take away from this is, look, you don't want to give up your power of position. And I think that given that Mark has a 2-to-1 chip lead on Felix, and he has a hand that can connect with the flop and can play well after the flop, especially in position, I don't want to re-raise and put myself in a situation where I don't get to take advantage of that.
Your hand just turns into spaghetti when you pop it out like that. It's just call.
Right. And if you're going to raise, I don't know if I like the size of his raise. He's basically committing his whole stack and saying, look, we're playing for it all. And, of course, Felix isn't going anywhere with ace-king. So just, I think calling in position is a better play in the long run for sure.
Felix Stevenson on the receiving end of a Mark Newhouse overplay. Will that be the hand that undoes Newhouse? More main event after this. Welcome back to the World Series of Poker main event telecast presented by Gentleman Jack. Back to the featured table. And how about them apples? Almost $348,000 is the reward for going broke in this game. There are no losers at this point. Larabe under the gun, ace-king of diamonds, a raise to $400,000.
We just saw Mark Newhouse bleed some chips away. When we get this deep, you're always wondering who is going to blow up. There's often one fatal misstep just before the final table. Scotty Wynn, famously in 07, Billy Kopp in 09 come to mind.
For most of our remaining players, this is by far the biggest cash of their poker careers. Really heady stuff.
You cannot fold your way to a main event bracelet. Not before, not now, not never.
Synth disagrees. On the button, Felix Stevenson gives it up as well. Velador out in the big blind. Mayen with 10-8 off.
He's getting almost 5-1 to call, but sometimes I think you just move on to the next hand.
Or call.
Or call.
Heads up, ace-king versus 10-8. And here is the flop 6, 10-8. Mayen scores top two. But hang on, Larabe picks up a diamond flush draw.
Action flop line like in the movies.
Mayen.
Yeah, Scott likes it, trying to figure out how to play it.
Well, checks his two pair.
Larabe won the Poker Stars Caribbean Adventure 5K in 2013, beating Justin Bonomo heads up for $218,000.
Larabe, a young one, but a talented one. He bets $550,000.
Mayen spins his card protector while his mind spins with the possibilities here.
He needs chips. He needs to be careful as one of the short stacks.
Raise.
He says raise.
Scott Mayen and Tom Serra Jr. are wolves in sheep's clothing.
A check raise to $1,550,000.
Mayen and Serra are nice guys, but they're off my home game list. You're always invited, Lon.
Oh, thanks. And now, Larabe with his nut flush draw.
All in.
And Donnie re-raises Mayen all in.
I call.
And here we go. Scott makes the call.
Now, Larabe didn't expect to see two pair. He probably figured Mayen for a pair or a straight draw. 3/4 of Larabe's chips are in the middle.
But it is Scott Mayen, the one at risk. If he can avoid disaster, over 11 million chips are his. And his fiance can't bear to watch.
My second wife couldn't watch me either, so we have that in common. Well done by Mayen, but you can see his nerves here.
Your heart is...
And the ace of clubs, Larabe now with top pair. That doubles his outs.
One time. I have not asked for it all.
You saved it?
All tournaments.
You saved it?
One time. I have not asked for it all tournament. Just played. One time.
It's not.
Scott Mayen does not want to exit this dream stage.
The river card is a diamond. Larabe scores the flush to knock out Scott Mayen.
And just like that, Scott Mayen is done.
I appreciate it.
A game-changing win for Larabe. A game-ending river card for Mayen.
Well played.
Thank you.
Well played, Scott Mayen.
Thanks.
And Larabe now into 7th place with over 13 million.
What a run.
Oh.
I love you too. Oh, what a run.
You got it. Thanks, man.
Yeah.
Scott got it in good. He had a 2-to-1 chance of doubling up and becoming a true final table contender, but the River Diamond sends him back to Elk Point, South Dakota. He's with Kara Scott right now.
Scott, you've really entered the poker world with a bang. Talk to us about what this means for you.
It's surreal. It's going to afford me some things to do that I couldn't normally do. And I don't know, it just means a lot to our family.
You've had so many people in your hometown of Elk Point, South Dakota, watching along, cheering along, sharing the experience with you. What would you want to say to them?
Oh, thank you very much, because I've had thousands of Facebook posts, and they come to my phone for the last 3 days, and they've all supported me. Everybody, my friends flew in from a couple of them, 3 of them flew in last night to be here today. My mom and dad have been here the whole time, and my girl. So it means a lot to everybody, and I thank them all so much.
Does something like this give you the poker bug? Do you want to go out there and play again?
Yeah, I think this might afford me a little bit of breathing room. I might be able to play in some more tournaments, and I want to play in some more tournaments, but it's the couple of the guys that came invested in me, so I don't think I'll probably have too much problem having them invest in me again to help me out, so it'll be pretty good.
Thanks so much for talking to us. Congratulations.
Thank you.
It's what the World Series is really all about.
Indeed, we like to say anyone can win. Anyone can also be devastated. My heart goes out to the first-timer. What a great run. What a great job, Scott.
Scott Mann out to the main event, but along the way, he made Elk Point, South Dakota very proud. The 2014 World Series of Poker is presented by Gentleman Jack, the Order of Gentlemen. And in part by the WSOP Circuit Tour. First the ring, then the bracelet. For the official schedule and events in your area, visit WSOP.com. A look at the Mob Museum located in downtown Las Vegas. Back to action in the white sweatshirt. Dutchman Jorrit van Hof was dealt 10-6 of clubs in the big blind. With pocket aces in early position, Andrei Zaichenko raised to $450,000.
Van Hof is thinking, this guy's capable of raising with 9 deuce. My 10-6 might be good here.
Yeah, and he does call for $250,000 more. Van Hof happy to take on the much shorter stack. And here is the flop. 9-8-7. Oh, goodness, Van Hof flopped perfect, a 10 high straight.
Brutally bad fortune for Zaichenko here, particularly at this stage of the main event.
No slow playing from Van Hof. Why slow play it? He bets 550.
Well, not the greatest flop for aces, but Zaichenko still should feel comfortable, and I wouldn't be shocked to see him push here.
Zaichenko cutting out chips for the call. Van Hof loves to see any chips go into the pot from Andre. Turn card, 4 of diamonds. Zaichenko now drawing dead.
Van Hof, 31 years old. This is his 4th World Series cash.
And now he checks.
Gotta love that check from Van Hof, Lon. That 4 of diamonds is such a benign card, and Van Hof's slowed down here, so Zaichenko certainly might shove in this spot.
Nope, just $1,075,000. He's trying to milk Van Hof, and the shoe's on the other foot.
You're right. Well, Van Hof got what he wanted. He still wants to get the rest of Zaichenko's chips if he can.
Gauging Zaichenko's determination, I guess, is Van Hof.
1.
And now he puts Zaichenko all in.
Zaichenko didn't expect that. He's got 4.8 million chips left, 24 big blinds. And if he calls here, he's done.
Zaichenko calls, and now he can call for a cab. His main event is over.
That is the sickest poker feeling imaginable, to call all in and see you're drawn dead.
In any language, getting your aces cracked is an awful feeling. Van Hof took a flyer with 10-6 and ends up on the heels of the main event chip leader. Zaichenko out in 17th.
If you're gonna go bust, Van Hof seems like a pretty nice guy to bust you.
Zaichenko shaking the hand of his vanquisher. Van Hof almost giddy as he moves into 2nd place with almost 21 million chips after cracking the aces of Zaichenko.
Need some luck on this situation, and if the ace is correct, what could I do? It's not for money. I need a bracelet. I want to be a number 9. I want to play with final table. It's my goal, but I have not obtained it.
So Von Hof moves into second place on the leaderboard, but it is Scott Mann, who is our DraftKings.com King of the Night.
Elated, kind of relieved. It's done, but I wanted to go a little farther. I cannot complain about anything.
We're going to go get a paycheck.
Yeah. Well, I think it's going to be able to afford me to play some tournaments, some more tournaments that I want to do really bad. It is life-changing money. It'll help anything. You know, I'll have a savings account for once.
347, 521. All right, see you guys next year. That's for sure.
I think we're going to have a hell of a party when we get home.
So Mann heads back to South Dakota, but we still have business here in Vegas to take care of. 16 players left. Sindelar, Von Hof, and Jacobson over 20 million. Tom Serra just below 13 million. In 13th place, Mark Newhouse.
Back-to-back November 9s? Ha! I don't think so.
What started as the Newhouse-Stevenson show quickly turned into Scott Mann's going-away party.
I have not asked for it all tournament. Just played. One time.
We are down to 16. 9 will compete at the final table with a shot at $10 million. I'm Lon McCarran for Kara Scott and Norman Chad. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports.